Gaelic football, commonly referred to as football or Gaelic, is an Irish team sport. It is a form of football derived from traditional Irish ball games. It is played between two teams of 15 players on a rectangular grass pitch. The objective of the sport is to score by passing the ball through the other team's goals or a set of two upright posts separated by a crossbar 2.5 meters above the ground. Players advance the football, a spherical leather ball, up the field with a combination of carrying, bouncing, kicking, hand passing, and soloing. In the game, two types of scores are possible: points and goals. A point is awarded for kicking or hand passing the ball over the crossbar, signaled by the umpire raising a white flag. A goal is awarded for kicking the ball under the crossbar into the net, signaled by the umpire raising a green flag. Positions in Gaelic football are similar to that in other football codes, and comprise one goalkeeper, 6 backs, 2 midfielders, and 6 forwards, with a variable number of substitutes. Gaelic football is one of 4 sports controlled by the Gaelic Athletic Association, the largest sporting organisation in Ireland. Along with hurling and camogie, Gaelic football is one of the few remaining strictly amateur sports in the world, with players, coaches, and managers prohibited from receiving any form of payment. Gaelic football is mainly played on the island of Ireland, although units of the association exist in other areas such as Great Britain and North America. Gaelic football is the most popular sport in Ireland in terms of attendance, and the final of the All-Ireland Senior Championship, held annually at Croke Park, Dublin, draws crowds of over 80,000 people. Outside of Ireland, football is mainly played among members of the Irish diaspora. Gaelic Park in New York City is the largest purpose-built Gaelic sports venue outside of Ireland. 3 major football competitions operate throughout the year. The National Football League and the All-Ireland Senior Championship operate on an inter-county basis, while the All-Ireland Club Championship is contested by individual clubs. The All-Ireland Senior Championship is considered the most prestigious event in Gaelic football. Under the auspices of the GAA, Gaelic football is a male-only sport. However, the related sport of ladies Gaelic football is governed by the Ladies Gaelic Football Association. Similarities between Gaelic football and Australian rules football have allowed a development of international rules football, a hybrid sport, and a series of test matches has been held regularly since 1998. History: Gaelic football was first codified in 1887, although it has links to older varieties of football played in Ireland and known collectively as Cade. Consequently, the name Cade is used by some people to refer to present-day Gaelic football. The first legal reference of football in Ireland was in 1308, when John McGuiggan, a spectator at a football game at Novum Castrum de Luan, was charged with accidentally stabbing a player named William Bernard. A field near Newcastle, Co. Dublin is still known as the football field. The Statute of Galway of 1527 allowed the playing of football and archery but banned hockey, the hurling of a little ball with sticks or staves, as well as other sports. By the 17th century, the situation had changed considerably. The games had grown in popularity and were widely played. This was due to the patronage of the gentry. Now, instead of opposing the games, it was the gentry and the ruling class who were serving as patrons of the games. Games were organized between landlords, with each team comprising 20 or more tenants. Wages were commonplace, with purses of up to 100 guineas. The earliest record of a recognized precursor to the modern game date from a match in County Meath in 1670, in which catching and kicking the ball was permitted. However, even football was banned by the Severe Sunday Observance Act of 1695, which imposed a fine of 1 shilling for those caught playing sports. It proved difficult, if not impossible, for the authorities to enforce the Act, and the earliest recorded inter-county match in Ireland was one between Louth and Meath, at Slane, in 1712, about which the poet James Dall McQuet wrote a poem of 88 verses beginning, Bahijinta. A six-a-side version was played in Dublin in the early 18th century, and 100 years later there were accounts of games played between county sides. By the early 19th century, various football games, referred to collectively as Cade, were popular in Kerry, especially the Dingle Peninsula. Father W. Ferris described two forms of Cade: the field game, in which the object was to put the ball through arch-like goals, formed from the boughs of two trees, and the epic cross-country game, which lasted the whole of a Sunday and was won by taking the ball across a parish boundary. Wrestling, holding opposing players, and carrying the ball were all allowed. During the 1860s and 1870s, rugby football started to become popular in Ireland. Trinity College, Dublin was an early stronghold of rugby, and the rules of the Football Association were codified in 1863 and distributed widely. By this time, according to Gaelic football historian Jack Mann, even in the Irish countryside, Cade had begun to give way to a rough-and-tumble game, which even allowed tripping. Association football started to take hold, especially in Ulster, in the 1880s. Limerick was the stronghold of the native game around this time, and the Commercials Club, founded by employees of Cannack's Drapery Store, was one of the first to impose a set of rules, which was adapted by other clubs in the city. Of all the Irish pastimes the GAA set out to preserve and promote, it is fair to say that Gaelic football was in the worst shape at the time of the association's foundation. Irish forms of football were not formally arranged into an organised playing code by the Gaelic Athletic Association until 1887. The GAA sought to promote traditional Irish sports, such as hurling, and to reject foreign imports. The first Gaelic football rules, showing the influence of hurling and a desire to differentiate from association football, for example in their lack of an offside rule, were drawn up by Maurice Davin and published in the United Ireland magazine on 7 February 1887. The rules of the aforementioned Commercials Club became the basis for these official rules, who, unsurprisingly, won the inaugural All-Ireland football final on Bloody Sunday in 1920, during the Anglo-Irish War. A football match at Croke Park was attacked by British forces. 14 people were killed and 65 were injured. Among the dead was Tipperary footballer Michael Hogan, for whom the Hogan Stand at Croke Park was named. By 1958, Wembley Stadium hosted annual exhibition games of Gaelic football in England, before tens of thousands of spectators. Ladies Gaelic football has become increasingly popular with women since the 1970s. The relationship between Gaelic football and Australian rules football and the question of whether they have shared origins is a matter of historical controversy. Games are held between an Irish representative team and an Australian team, under compromise rules known as international rules football. Rules. Playing field. A Gaelic pitch is similar in some respects to a rugby pitch but larger. The grass pitch is rectangular, stretching 130 to 145 meters long and 80 to 90 meters wide. There are 8 shaped goalposts at each end, formed by 2 posts, which are usually 6 to 7 meters high, set 6.5 meters apart, and connected 2.5 meters above the ground by a crossbar. A net extending behind the goal is attached to the crossbar and lower goal posts. The same pitch is used for hurling. The GAA, which organizes both sports, decided this to facilitate dual usage. Lines are marked at distances of 13 meters, 20 meters and 45 meters from each end line. Shorter pitches and smaller goals are used by youth teams. Duration. The majority of adult football and all minor and under 21 matches last for 60 minutes, divided into 2 halves of 30 minutes. With the exception of senior inter-county games, which last for 70 minutes, draws are decided by replays or by playing 20 minutes of extra time. Juniors have a half of 20 minutes or 25 minutes in some cases. Half-time lasts for about 5 or 10 minutes. Teams consist of 15 players plus up to 15 substitutes, of which 5 may be used. Each player is numbered 1 to 15, starting with the goalkeeper, who must wear a jersey color different from that of his or her teammates. Up to 15 substitutes may be named on the team sheet, number 16 usually being the reserve goalkeeper. Positions ball. The game is played with a round leather football made of 18 stitched leather panels. Similar in appearance to a traditional volleyball, with a circumference of 69 to 74 centimeters, weighing between 370 to 425 grams when dry. It may be kicked or hand-passed. A hand pass is not a punch but rather a strike of the ball with the side of the closed fist, using the knuckle of the thumb. Types of fouls. There are 3 main types of fouls in Gaelic football, which can result in the ball being given to the other team, a player being cautioned, a player being removed from the field, or even the game being terminated. Technical fouls. The following are considered technical fouls: bouncing the ball twice in a row, changing hands, throwing the ball from your right hand to left or vice versa, going 4 steps without releasing, bouncing or soloing the ball, hand passing a goal. To hand pass a ball with an open palm, there must be a clear striking action, picking the ball directly off the ground. However, in ladies' Gaelic football the ball may be picked up directly. Square ball is an often controversial rule. If, at the moment, the ball enters the small square, there is already an attacking player inside the small rectangle, then a free out is awarded. As of 2012, square balls are only counted if the player is inside the square when the ball is kicked from a free or set piece. An opposing player is allowed in the square during open play. Throwing the ball. Aggressive fouls. Aggressive fouls are physical or verbal fouls committed by a player against an opponent or the referee. The player can be cautioned, ordered off the pitch without a substitute, or ordered off the pitch with the substitution. Dissent fouls. A dissent foul is a foul where a player fails to comply with the official's judgment or instructions. The player can be cautioned, ordered off the pitch without a substitute, the free kick placement moved 13 meters further downfield, or in certain circumstances, the game can be terminated. The following are considered dissent fouls: to challenge the authority of a referee, umpire, linesman or sideline official, to fail to comply with a referee's instruction to use a mouth guard, to refuse to leave the field of play, on the instruction of the referee, for attention, after an injury involving bleeding, to show dissent with the referee's decision to award a free kick to the opposing team, to refuse to leave the field of play when ordered off or rejoin the game after being ordered off. A team or player leaving the field without the referee's permission or refusing to continue playing. Scoring. If the ball goes over the crossbar, a point is scored and a white flag is raised by an umpire. A point is scored by either kicking the ball over the crossbar, or fisting it over, in which case the hand must be closed while striking the ball. If the ball goes below the crossbar, a goal, worth 3 points, is scored, and a green flag is raised by an umpire. A goal is scored by kicking the ball into the net, not by fist passing the ball into it. However, a player can strike the ball into the net with a closed fist if the ball was played to him by another player or came in contact with the post, crossbar, ground prior to connection. The goal is guarded by a goalkeeper. Scores are recorded in the format goal total, point total. To determine the scoreline, goals must be converted to points and added to the other points. For example, in a match with a final score of Team A 0-21, Team B 4-8, Team A is the winner with 21 points, as Team B scored only 20 points. Tackling. The level of tackling allowed is more robust than in association football, but less than rugby. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact and slapping the ball out of an opponent's hand are permitted, but the following are all fouls: blocking a shot with the foot, pulling an opponent's jersey, pushing an opponent, sliding tackles, striking an opponent, touching the goalkeeper when he/she is inside the small rectangle, tripping, using both hands to tackle, wresting the ball from an opponent's hands. Restarting play. A match begins with the referee throwing the ball up between the four midfielders. After an attacker has put the ball wide of the goals, scored a point or a goal, the goalkeeper may take a kick out from the ground at the 13 meters line. All players must be beyond the 20 meters line. After a defender has put the ball wide of the goals, an attacker may take a 45 from the ground on the 45 meters line, level with where the ball went wide. After a player has put the ball over the sideline, the other team may take a sideline kick at the point where the ball left the pitch. It may be kicked from the ground or the hands. The player who is taking the sideline kick must not pass the boundary line while taking. After a player has committed a foul, the other team may take a free kick at the point where the foul was committed. It may be kicked from the ground or the hands. If a player has been fouled while passing the ball, the free may be taken from the point where the ball landed. After a defender has committed a foul inside the large rectangle, the other team may take a penalty kick from the ground from the center of the 11 meters line. Only the goalkeeper may guard the goals. If many players are struggling for the ball and it is not clear who was fouled first, the referee may choose to throw the ball up between two opposing players. Officials. A football match is overseen by up to 8 officials: the referee, 2 linesmen, sideline official, standby linesman, 4 umpires. The referee is responsible for starting and stopping play, recording the score, awarding frees and booking and sending off players. Linesmen are responsible for indicating the direction of line balls to the referee. The 4th official is responsible for overseeing substitutions, and also indicating the amount of stoppage time and the players substituted using an electronic board. The umpires are responsible for judging the scoring. They indicate to the referee whether a shot was wide, a 45 meters kick, a point, square ball or a goal. A disallowed score is indicated by crossing the green and white flags. Other officials are not obliged to indicate any misdemeanors to the referee. They are only permitted to inform the referee of violent conduct they have witnessed that has occurred without the referee's knowledge. A linesman umpire is not permitted to inform the referee of technical fouls such as a double bounce, or an illegal pickup of the ball. Such decisions can only be made at the discretion of the referee. Team of the Century. The Team of the Century was nominated in 1984 by Sunday independent readers and selected by a panel of experts including journalists and former players. It was chosen as part of the Gaelic Athletic Association's centenary year celebrations. The goal was to single out the best ever 15 players who had played the game in their respective positions. Naturally, many of the selections were hotly debated by fans around the country. Team of the Millennium. The Team of the Millennium was a team chosen in 1999 by a panel of GAA past presidents and journalists. The goal was to single out the best ever 15 players who had played the game in their respective positions. Since the foundation of the GAA in 1884 up to the millennium year 2000, naturally many of the selections were hotly debated by fans around the country.